Hi everyone, and welcome to another Friday Family Art Project with myself. I'm Autumn, the Education Coordinator here for Studio 23. If you got to see our previous segment with Tara, you know that we're talking about the art of Priscilla Olsen today. And as Tara also mentioned, we are very lucky to have multiple pieces of Priscilla's in our off-the-wall gallery boutique. So if you have a moment and you're looking for something to do on what looks like it's going to be a beautiful sunny day, stop into the studio. We're open from 11 to 5 today. Stop in and see some of the gorgeous work that Priscilla has here at Studio 23. So one of the pieces that I really like of Priscilla's is this beautiful painting of birds that she has. I'll get you a little closer. There we go. So isn't this just gorgeous? This is one of my absolute favorite pieces in our off-the-wall gallery. So what I really love about Priscilla's work is in all of her pieces, she really seems to create emotion. So that it's almost like she has an illustrative style to her work because of that. And so I'm really drawn to it because of that, and I absolutely love it. So I used this particular painting of these birds, and I know something I just really liked about them. I used this to base my project off of. So we're going to do a project that includes birds today. And so what we're going to do is we are going to do a little different. We're not going to work in oil, we're going to work in watercolor. But this is the family project that we're going to do. So as you can see, we have some watercolor going on. And basically we're going to create a sky, right? And then we're going to create our tree and our bird, make it look like a silhouette. And a silhouette is just a fancy word that describes a dark shape or outline that is visible against a lighter background. That's really all a silhouette is. Nothing fancy, but it sure does sound fancy, right? So anyways, let's go ahead, get our cameras adjusted, and we'll get started with this. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, get my painting right here. And then as far as supplies go, I'm using watercolor paper, but if you don't have that, feel free to use cardstock, any other paper that might be a little heavier and be able to withstand getting wet. If you use regular paper, you have the chance that it's gonna go right through and put a hole in your paper. And then I'm just using my regular old handy dandy Crayolas. You know I love my Crayola watercolor. And some water to clean my brush off, some paper towel. And then I do have two different size brushes. I have a bigger brush for like washes, and then I have a smaller brush for detail. If you don't have the bigger brush, I think that's fine. And you can absolutely accomplish this painting with the smaller brush. It's just gonna take a little more time, which is something I don't necessarily have for these videos. All right. So what you're gonna do is, I'm gonna start on this side. Let's see. You're gonna to get your background going, we're gonna do almost like a gradient of color. We're gonna do some purples up here, because remember we're doing a sky, but if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I like to do skies in pretty much any other color except for blue, right? So we're gonna do some dark purple up here, and it's gonna fade into some pink. And then that pink is gonna start fading into our warmer colors, our oranges and our yellows. And I'm doing in that order specifically so my colors can blend together well. Okay, so I'm just gonna get my bigger brush wet, and let's see, let's get some water in these watercolors so we can use them. There we go. All right, my brush is nice and wet. I'm gonna go in with some of that purple up top, and I'm just gonna side to side just start spreading it out, just like that. If you want it a little darker up top, you could always add in a little blue or maybe even a little black if you want to be careful with it. But remember, with these darker colors like black and blue, you want to be careful with them because they can really darken things up very, very quickly. I think that's good. All right, a little more water. I'm going to rinse off my brush in between colors because I do want them to blend, but I don't want it to all be over blended. I don't want it to start to look muddy. So now I'm going to go in with my nice pink or kind of a magenta color. Start getting that in. All right. And you can tell I'm not really being too careful. You don't really have to be with this part of it. All right, let's see. We'll get some orange in here. Ooh, look at that. Yes. Love that. Oh. All right, maybe a little more water. All right, and I'll clean my brush off, and I'm gonna go in with some yellow now. Maybe I'll go in with a little more orange to mix it up a little bit. And we'll go in with a little more yellow. And of course, the more you go over your colors and where your colors meet, the more you're gonna be able to blend your colors. So if you wanna blend them more, keep that in mind. All right, and that's it for my big brush and the colors. And ideally, you would let this dry. I have one all dried and ready to go right here. All right. So what we're gonna do is now I'm gonna use this smaller brush, or the brush that came with my watercolor, and I'm just gonna use black, because remember I said we're doing a silhouette and it needs to be dark. If you wanted to, if you didn't have black watercolor paint, you could also do the chromatic black that I've talked about in past videos, where you mix brown and blue together and you can make a chromatic black. So either way, I'm gonna go ahead with my black. And I'm gonna start down here, and I'm just gonna make a branch. Now the nice thing about a branch is it is organic, right? So it does not have to be straight lines. It does not have to be perfect. And I love that. What a favor Mother Nature did for us, right? By making things that don't have to be perfect. You know, that often look better when they're not perfect, right? All right. And but the only thing I do want to remember is with branches, they're bigger the closer they are to the actual tree, and then they get really small the further you go out. So I'm going to keep it small out here, but I think I'm going to add a bottom line here and make it a little bit wider, just so you can really tell it's supposed to be a branch. All right, fill that in with our black. We're creating our silhouette. And then I'm gonna make this bottom branch here. And I'm gonna do it the same exact way. And again, does not have to be perfect. And see how I'm gonna keep it smaller? The further out I go, I want it to be nice and small the further out my branch goes. And you might have little things you need to fix here and there, but otherwise, it does not have to be perfect. All right, we're gonna fill it in. See, it's so nice when you don't have to worry about something being perfect. It's so nice how quickly you can just move and paint. It's nice to mix it up like that. All right, now we're gonna move on to our bird. And our bird, we're gonna keep it simple. You can obviously make it as complicated as you would like, but since this is a family project, we're gonna keep it simple. So I'm gonna have my bird sitting up here, and it's gonna look like this, so it's gonna look like his back is to us. So we're just gonna give the bird a circle for a head, like I said, keeping it very simple. All right, there we go. And we're just gonna fill him in, right? And then his actual back is almost like an almond shape. So it's like, if you can imagine kind of like a frown line and a happy line together, that's sort of the almond shape that I'm talking about. And we're just gonna go, let's see. Like that. And let's see, we'll give him a good chest. There we go. And we're gonna fill him in. Right. Now, if you don't think your silhouette is quite dark enough, you could always wait for it to dry and go back over top of it. I'm not too worried about that though. All right, now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do these bottom tail feathers right here. And that's just gonna be a sort of curved line going down. And I'm gonna do a second one. A little bit longer, there, that's good enough. And then I'm gonna connect them so it's almost gonna look like a W shape. I'm just gonna connect them. There we go. And that's good enough, I think. You can definitely tell it's supposed to be a bird. And then last, we want to do some kind of beak. And let's see, I might use my bigger brush and just make sure it's got a nice point on it. If you want to do something really small in detail, you know, one thing you can do is just kind of roll your brush and make sure it has a nice good point on it. Sometimes that will help you. All right, I'm gonna go in with the tip of my bigger brush so I can do a little beak. Let's see. There we go, that's good enough for me, I think. All right, that is my Priscilla Olsen inspired bird painting. This is a really fun project with kids. Kids love to do this kind of stuff because first of all, it's got these beautiful colors, but secondly, it's watercolor paint. It's so fun to use. So if you're looking for something fun to do, check this out. This is it for me today. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic weekend and enjoy this beautiful sunny day. And otherwise, we will see you next week. Bye.